Hey everyone, today we're going to look at module 3 of our exercise. Now this module is a very simple module. We actually learn about on-command system manager and how to create aggregates and volumes in it. We also learn how to resize a volume. We actually check out a few CLI commands. We also look at how to create and delete trees as well as delete the volume that we create. So let's look at how this is done. So first, let's go to on-command system manager. So now here you can actually see the on-command system manager. Let's go into full screen. Alright, so let's click on on-command system manager and wait for it to load up. Okay, so let's load up our dataontap. We log in with our default username and password. This is our home screen. So the first step we're going to do right now is create an aggregate. So we click on storage and click on storage configuration wizard. We click on next. Now since we actually need to create an aggregate manually, we click on manually create aggregates. Click on that and press next and finish. So now we have actually configured our on-command system manager to manually create aggregates. So let's go ahead and create an aggregate. So we expand storage. We can see all these different lists over here. We click on aggregates. You can see that we have aggregate 0 created by default. It's just a 900 MB space. We need a bigger one, so let's create a new one by clicking on create. This page pops up, so you click on next. You give a name for your aggregate. So I'm going to go with aggregate 1, AGGR1. We leave this as default and click on next. So here we actually have to select the disk. So we click on select disk. We choose FCAL. It has a total capacity of 9.97 GB. That's really good. We don't need 10 disks. We're gonna go with 5 disks. So we click on save and close. You can check out the read details over here. We see that it's all good. Save and close. Click on create to start creating the aggregate and finish. Now you can see that our aggregate is being created right now. Now this might actually take some time. Let's try refreshing. So it's gonna take some time, so we'll get back to it later. Now here you can actually see that aggregate creation has been successful, and we can actually see our AGGR1 online. You can actually do the same thing using the command line interface on dataontap. So let's go into dataontap. Now here we can see that the aggregate 1 has been added to the system. So that's how it's done. So now let's create an aggregate 2 using just the CLI commands. So first let's look at its status. So we'll type in aggr space status. You can see that we have 2 aggregates and both of them are online. Now let's create an aggregate 2. So aggr is create aggr2 -v with 64 bits and 4 disks. And press on enter. Now we can see when we go back to on-command system manager that the aggregate 2 is being created. So let's wait for its completion. Now here we can actually see our aggregate 2 has been created. It's online and it's up and running. Please note the number of disk counts over here. We created aggregate 1 with 5 disk count and aggregate 2 with 4 disks. So now let's actually add disks to these aggregates. So let's go ahead and do that by using disk. Now when we click on disk, we can see a list of several different disks over here. So we find out a spare disk, since all of these are actually associated to the aggregates. We have to find ourselves a spare disk. So there are two spare disks over here. So we click on the first one, add to aggregate, click on continue. Now let's go full screen. Alright, now we need to add the disk to our aggregate. So we need to add it to aggregate 1. So let's select aggregate 1 and click on add. Let's go back to our aggregates and check out if it's been added to our system. Now we can see that our disk count is actually 5. We can see that aggregate 1 is still at disk count 5. Now this is because the zeroing is being completed. We can see on dataontap that the zeroing is being done and it's being completed right now. So let's go back to dataontap and refresh. So now we can see that the disk count has become 6. So we have successfully added disk to our aggregate 1 and it's functioning properly. Next, we need to look at how to add a volume. So for this, we go to storage, volumes, and then we click on create. You can see that there's just one default volume for aggregate 0 over here. So we need to create a new volume for aggregate 1. So we click on create. Now we have to give a name for the volume. I'm going to give it as NASVOL, NASVOL. So the aggregate has been selected as AGGR1. That's what we need. Now we need only 1 GB. We keep the snapshot reserve as 5, and then we click on thin provisioned and add it to our system. So our volume is online, NAS volume is online, total space of 1 GB, and it's online. Now we look at how to resize this volume. To resize, just click on the volume and you can see this resize button over here. We click on the resize wizard, we click on next. Now we're going to resize this volume from 1 GB to 1.5. So over here you give the total capacity as 1.5. We keep the reserve as same. Click on next. These are the snapshots we can delete if we are running out of space, so we don't need to do that. So click on next. This is a summary. Click on next and finish. We can see that our total space is now 1.5 GB. We have successfully resized our volume to 1.5 GB. Now we can actually do the same thing using the command line interface. So in order to do that, let's go back to dataontap. So before we start, let's look at the status of the volumes. Vol status NASVOL. So that's all good. So let's start resizing it. Okay, vol size NAS vol 100 MB. So it says it's been set to 100G. Now you look at the status to see if it's if everything is in order. It is NASVOL. So we can see that. Now we quit out of this control. Now if we go back to our oncommand system manager and just refresh this thing, we can see that the total space is now changed to 100 GB with an available space of 3.5 GB. Alright. Now let's look at how to create a queue tree. Now, to create a queue tree, you click on Storage, Queue Trees. You click on Create. You enter the name for the queue tree. We give this as NAS QT1. QT1. We give a name for the volume. So since we need to link it to AGGR1, we click on Browse. Click on one AGGR1. We select the NAS wall. Okay. We need the unit security style, so we click on Units and click on Create. So we see that we have created a queue tree over here. Now the same thing can be done using the command line interface, so let's look at how that's done. So we move on to dataontap. To create a queue tree on dataontap, you use this command: queue tree create vol nas vol nas qt2. We're creating a second queue tree called qt2. So there, it's being created. So let's look at the status to check if it's being created. Queue tree space status. We can see that the new volume is over here. Qt2, it's enabled and it's working properly. Just to confirm, let's go back to oncommand system manager and refresh this thing. We can find that the queue tree is functioning properly. Now let's look at how to delete a queue tree. To delete a queue tree, click on the queue tree you want to delete and click on delete. Now this was a fairly simple step. You can actually do the same thing using the CLI in dataontap. So let's look at how that's done. You can see that it's been successfully deleted the queue tree. So now let's delete our queue tree 1, that is the NAS QT1. So first we need to change our privilege level. So a command for that is priv set advanced. So we've got a higher privilege now. Let's delete it using this command: queue tree delete vol /nas vol space name of the queue tree you want to delete, qt1. So there, it has successfully deleted the queue tree. And we need to reset the interface, that is, give off our privilege level. So we set priv set, just checking on the queue tree status to see everything's been deleted. Alright, so everything's deleted. Let's go back to our queue tree, oncommand system manager, and check on our queue trees. So we can see that everything is being deleted. Now let's look at how to delete the volume. You click on volumes, select the volume that you want to delete, NAS vol, click on delete. Oh yeah, so you can't directly delete a volume like that. You have to shift it to offline mode. So to do that, you click on status and click on offline. You have to confirm. You can see that our NAS vol is currently in an offline state. You can verify it over here. It says the NAS vol has been temporarily set offline. So now we are safe to delete our NAS vol. Click on delete, click on OK to delete the volumes and its data, and confirm. We can see that we have successfully deleted our NAS vol. Now we've learned how to create a volume. We've learned how to create an aggregate, add the disk to an aggregate, how to create queue trees, delete the queue trees, delete the volumes, etc. Now next we'll be moving on to more advanced steps, so stay tuned.